So next topic.
Delta announced a little while ago that they had done a partnership with this Israeli company and they were going to use surveillance data about you to figure out how much you were willing to pay for a plane ticket. You have a funeral to get to, or that you've got a meeting on Monday. A wage is a price. Uber drivers, they bucket themselves into two groups. They call themselves either pickers or ants. So pickers are people who are picky, ants pick every ride that comes along. If you're a driver, Uber can impute a level of desperation to you by how many lowball offers you're willing to accept. Now there's 4 giant apps. They all sell themselves as Uber for nursing. So the app, before it gives the nurse a shift, finds out how much credit card debt they're carrying. And the more credit card debt they're carrying, the lower the wage the nurse is offered.
That's insane.
So
holy smokes.
Think about this the next time you're getting your catheter inserted, right?
Well, and you see that right with Uber. If there's a big event, or for example, we were down at a Lions game, back in December, I think, and the Uber prices to get back home were just insane. Just insane because they know everyone's there trying to get the heck out and get home.
Yeah.
And so they gouge. So seeing and hearing things like this where companies are going to start doing that. I mean, we see it in the airlines, right? You have spring break prices go up.
Well, not just that.
There was Hey, if you're still watching, make sure to give us a like, share, and subscribe.
Hearing where they basically charged like same line, people standing, and they charged different people different pricing for the baggages, oversized baggages, or what was considered oversized. So I'm just saying is this is where the government need to work, not other places. This is where.
Well, I'm going to throw something at you guys. I want you to think about something. Isn't this just old scams and just be using AI instead?
Yeah.
I mean,
no.
If you like a taxi before Uber came out, before the smartphones, if they knew there was a concert getting out,
100%.
They'll jump up the price.
Prices went up.
Again, okay, I'm gonna give an example of India again, or any other Asian country. You go from here, and they recognize you that you're a foreigner. The price
take advantage of you,
and it will go 500% up.
Yep.
And that happens basically all other countries, Asian countries, or whatever you want to call it, in that side of or African countries even, that they'll have a different set of prices for you. But again, we say, okay, those are third world countries, this and that. That's happening here.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's the same old system.
Yeah, it is
scam. And if we let's say
it's a scam.
Let's say
just say it as it is. It's a scam.
It's a scam.
It's a scam, and it needs to be stopped.
Yeah. So they put the rules down. The government puts the rules down. Then they're going to go back to the old style.
Yeah.
They're going, we don't use this app anymore, but we got this piece of paper here.
Well, and then they'll just raise the prices.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to go back to the old style.
I guess maybe that's part of the problem with fluctuationary pricing, right? Whereas it used to be, taxis would do that, but then they started doing, it's going to be 75 cents a mile or $1.15 a mile everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Or, maybe it's 50 cents a mile per flight, right?
Yeah.
You take, or that's the only way to stop this kind of, we'll say, abuse to the customer.
It happens everywhere. Like for example, when everything went off in Mexico, a lot of people were kind of stuck in these towns, these tourist towns, and they go back to the hotel they were staying in. They're like, oh, the price jumped up 30%, 50%. And they had to pay it because they couldn't leave the country.
Literally.
Yeah. So I'm thinking is like, unless we just putting a lipstick on a pig basically and saying we're saying like, hey, we are a developed country, scams don't happen here, this and that, if that's the thing, then whatever. But I think we need to there should be a regulation.
Yeah, I guess his point is like he gave some scenarios where you have to attend a funeral or anything like that. But let's take a different scenario. So how many times we go to conferences? Probably at least two to three a year, right? And sometimes you travel outside the state, and that conference for the week that's there, let's pick on, I don't know, Chicago, I guess it's as close. How much you're going to pay for a hotel room in that area during that conference? Probably
Three times.
$300 to $500 versus if it was just a regular week, it'd probably be like $120.
Okay, so here's okay. So
let me put for all sorts of things. Too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's kind of like, well, why if we
let's put it in perspective, right? Let's put that in perspective. These parks, let's say, Michigan Adventure. Mm-hmm. Let's take that an example. They only open 6 months a year, right? To buy a drink there is, I don't know, it's $25, let's say. It's to buy a pop or whatever.
Like Vegas?
Endless refilling. Yeah, it's $25. But they have to, though their justification is they only open 6 months a year. They provide those services at that time. We go there voluntarily. We know we're going to pay this. Conferences, motels, those things, those are the only time they get packed. Those are the only time they fill up. And they have to make up the money, right? But what my concern is, this is the predatory side on this one is where
it's an individual basis.
Yes. Right? It's not saying it's a flu season. We are shorted on nurses. It's going to be X amount for everybody.
That's a good point.
It's X amount for everybody. No, it's only they're checking their credit scores. They're checking their it's like a what they call selective. It's a selective discrimination, I think.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I mean, that's a strong word, but it is a selective discrimination for people because they are they studied whatever their background may be, the situation they came out of it. Yeah, they may have a bad credit, but that's because they're
or a death in the family.
Yeah, I mean they're the only in the family who actually went to college. Yeah. Who actually got that kind of job. They become a nurse or what not, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're basically taking that as they charging them basically this, I would say, poor tax.
I'm going to counter you.
They're charging them a poor tax because now it's saying you came from that background, your credit score is low. We're gonna give you even less money.
Okay, now I'm going to counter it. So. Now, kind of the last topic we had is an old scam. So now they're using AI to do all this, but what's the difference between the hospital or, somebody getting that person's information because they have a social security number, you look in the background, then they know that information right there, but you don't see it that way. And then they know their credit score and everything else and be able to do that same lowball offer. Mm-hmm. It's basically, I feel like, I hate to say it this way,
but I think there's a labor laws. So there's a labor.
Yeah. But now but you're moving that idea or that method to AI now, or to be able to do it like.
Yeah, but this is this is like independent agencies.
It is, but
they're not covered. They're not covered under labor laws.
But like we talk about too, this is where we're using AI instead of for good, kind of for nefarious or negative activities that in this instance are still probably legal because there are no rules set up around it yet.
That's what I'm saying. There's no rules set up for these individual Uber-like apps where they basically dispatching nurses. So.
And other apps that are like
yeah. So
and like they said, even airlines and other businesses, it's not just these few, but it's just using AI then as a tool, but that's maybe not for benefit, but using it negatively, right? We always think of military action and things like that. This is now using it for profit.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's discriminatory to the individuals who are putting in the hard work and not getting the equal value out of their pay.
I hate to say it this way. I'm going to take another approach. I feel like this is kind of like target marketing.
Yeah. That's a good word. That's a good word.
It is.
Yeah. You're targeting the certain people, certain individuals.
Exactly, but we don't have to agree with it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I definitely don't. Because
that's what I say. I don't agree with it.
I don't agree with it. But
I don't think any of us agree with it. But we all see why they're doing it.
yeah.
And just like they used to do, right? Like I said at the beginning, spring break, or if there's a big game, right? And for example, when Michigan State went to the Rose Bowl, my mom and I got tickets to go out there. Flights before the game, $300.
Well,
Flights after the game,
I hate to say it this way,
$1,000.
But that's for everybody, right?
Right.
But it's a time period, and it's for everybody, not just Keegan had a different flight, I had a different, price, you had a different, because that's where my concern is.
Yeah, and I got another one. I now it just kind of hit me. So these are legitimate. He's kind of presenting legitimate companies doing this, right? Like knowing the emotion, knowing the situation. What about the non-legit companies or quote unquote scammers?
Oh yeah,
they have that same information, and they're gonna quote unquote make you go to the fake Delta website, a fake link.
Yep.
And then give your information. I'll be honest, I got caught in that with United States Postal Service. It was a fake link, but I was expecting a package, and it was very important to me at the time because it was from the IRS. So it told me that my package was late. I don't know how it knew, but it knew. And then it sent me a text message. I put my credit card information in there, and then luckily, they caught it. But it's the same idea, but it was, it's just now it's moving on.
Yeah. There's a great lesson. Never do anything unless it's from that direct website.
Yeah. But I'm telling you 100%.
Yeah.
So on that note, even my bank calls me like from 1-800 number, and I tell them like nothing against you, but I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna go to website. I'm gonna call that number, and you give me the reference number for the case. And I'll go on that number and I'll call, and if they have the reference number, that's great. If not,
have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Yep, exactly.
Good ending.
Exactly. All right, guys. Again, like, subscribe.